Hey, you looking for some secrets? I got them right here. I'm Mike Wieczorek, and I've got this podcast. It's called Chicago Real Estate Secrets, and I'm going to share those secrets with you. I'm going to have the top producers and other real estate innovators in our area, and they're going to tell you everything you need to know how to make that money. So tune in every week and check it out.
So, welcome to another episode or another podcast of Chicago Real Estate Secrets. Today we are at the Drake in Oak Brook again, letting us sitting here in the Sinatra room, the swanky room. We're doing it in the evening this time, which I think is more appropriate. We have Mr. Sohail Salahuddin with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming, sir. We did this once before, but it was during lockdown, so we did it virtually. So excited to have you here in the flesh.
Your face in person.
Yeah, it's good to see yours. So we were chatting a little bit before we started pressing record, sitting down in the lobby, and we were talking about just some changes to the way you do business, or maybe a mindset shift that you've noticed over the last couple years. Can you talk to us about what's changed in your business and your perspective on how to do business?
Definitely. So I think the most fundamental shift that I had over the past 2 years was that you had to suffer and work hard to be successful. And what I found in the past 2 years is that that was either a figment of my imagination or just a falsehood in general. Mm-hmm. You know, like the whole grind, don't sleep. It's just not true, you know? So what I found now is the belief that you have is truly what is going to propel you or maybe regress your business.
So it could hold you back.
It could hold you back, yeah.
Okay, so you're talking like self-talk?
We can call it self-talk. We can call it believing in something that you have some type of power outside of you, mm-hmm. or a power inside of you. You have a power coming from somewhere, right? And in our business, it's all about service. It's all about people. So I would say that you can connect it to the human spirit and being able to really connect with people on more than just on a face level, more like on a heart to heart level. And it's been tremendous.
So what is, like, give us an example. I know that you shared a great example earlier with us.
Right.
How you've seen that play out.
I'll give you a great example. So, in the past, time was so important. I would meet with somebody, focus on trying to get through our meeting fast so that I can get more in my day. Mm-hmm. And what I found now is that when I'm with somebody, being present and really listening and find out what's important to them and not trying to be that salesperson. You still want to be good. You still want to provide the information that the individual you're with is looking for. But I think it's more of asking questions and really listening to what's important to them versus what's important to me, right? Because I would go there. In the past, I would go what's important to me, really focus on getting that listing, right? Or getting that sale. Now I don't do that. Because regardless of if I want it or not, I'm not going to get it unless you, for example, are going to give it to me. Right. So it's not about me. It's all about you and focus on you and not having a time limit or trying to get more done. I want to get more done, but at the same time, it's being more efficient with your time and the time that you need with me so that I can answer all your questions and provide you with the information that you're looking for.
Yeah. So I know what you're saying too, and I think to clarify, that you still try to master your time and are conscious of your time. But now you're not filling it with as much angst and as much, angst to get to the next task, but enjoying the communication with the individual and accomplishing their goals by listening.
That's enjoying the process instead of feeling pressured within the process.
So one example that you shared with me earlier, instead of, let's just say, getting a listing or closing the deal, in this case, you actually had already closed the deal, maybe in your old mindset, and now recently you've revisited that story through life being life, and ran into somebody, a mutual friend, right? Mm-hmm. And an old client of yours, you found the impact of the story that you made by way of actually what was it, getting them into the house that they were now selling, or what was that story?
Yeah. So I had an appointment with the gentleman, and he was hesitant to meet with me at first just because he was getting bombarded with brokers.
Right.
And he just went through a bad experience with an agent that was trying to sell his home. But I talked him into just being open-minded. We met. It just so happened that we had a mutual person because he worked with somebody at the CTA.
But how did you know that he worked at the CTA?
I just saw a CTA shirt,
okay.
And I'm like, oh, do you work at the CTA? And he said, yeah. He retired. And I said, oh, I knew a couple people actually worked at the CTA. But one person just came to the top of my head. It just popped in my head was this person. I named their name. And he said, he's a good friend of mine, right? So fast forward in the conversation, he ended up calling on speakerphone. I was present with him, and he called this other gentleman who I worked with in the past. We sold their house in Logan Square. They bought a home in West Chicago, right in the border of St. Charles schools. And what he said to the person that I was there with was, that guy is the best realtor, and this house that we're in, and it's been 6 years probably, he said it's changed their life. It's been such a blessing.
That you sold them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I didn't know that because he never told me. So having him on speakerphone saying that the house has been such a blessing has changed their life, brought tears to my eyes, you know. And he almost, I could tell that he might have had tears in his eyes just thinking about the process he's been through. So people are people, right? Mm-hmm. Can't look at people as a dollar sign. If you are, you're doing it wrong, because it's not about that. It's about the human spirit connecting with people on a much higher level. When you're able to connect on a much higher level, everything else kind of falls into place, right? But in real estate, they call it commission rent. If you're there focusing on the money, you may get it, you may not. But here's what I found to be absolutely true is when you go there and you focus on that person, right? Right now, you and I are meeting, we're focused on each other. We're not really thinking about this podcast, how successful it's going to be, how many people, we don't care about that, right? We just want to have fun. We just want to connect. Yeah. Whoever's going to listen to it, great. But during this process, we're having a good time with each other.
Yeah, and I think wrapping that up with a bow is like, one leading with love and authenticity. Yeah. Because as things fall into place, they also will fall right out of line, because not everything is meant to be in your line or your whatever it is, your attention, right? And so it's cool, though, to kind of go back into that conversation and say, wow, I'm reliving when I wasn't so present, but now that I noticed the little things like CTA and I gave a shit and said, hey, what about that? You got into a conversation where you were able to kind of, reincarnate the good vibes that you put into somebody's family. You didn't even know it. So guys, that the whole point isn't like, let's not go reestablish this new energy. It's like, realize you probably have already done a whole lot of good that maybe at the moment you might not have actually even gave yourself credit for. Yeah. And it's a good exercise to touch base with those clients and say, hey, that house I sold you 1, 5, 7 years ago, how the hell are you? Is that thing still standing? Are you still there? You might find a cool story, and certainly somebody who's ready to support you in their next home ownership, journey, or their friends.
Absolutely.
So what have you seen by way of the change in your perspective and the way that you lead those conversations? Have you seen a change in your ability to help more people? And have you related that also, that type of tactic, into your team?
Definitely it's been a conversation with my team. It's a hard concept to grasp, right? It's hard if you're, let's just say you're in a place of scarcity. A lot of real estate agents get in the business, and they're not successful. It's a tough business that we're in, right? It's sales, it's commission, and so I think for most people it's hard to be present and to be all about them when in the back of your mind you're like, oh man, I gotta get this sale, otherwise I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. The problem with that is that when you're thinking about in the back of your mind, I gotta get this sale, and not being present with the individual that you're there for, it just doesn't happen, right? So the negative thinking, regardless, is just gonna rampage or ransack your present moment with that person. Jim Rohn he has so many. I love Jim Rohn.
He's awesome.
He has so much incredible advice. But one of the things I love saying is that when he talks about real work, and he says, when you're on the phone with somebody, that's not the important time. When you're driving to work, that's not the important time. You're doing your paperwork, that's not an important time. What is the important time? In the presence of the person, right? That's a common quote that I hear him, that I kind of relive in my mind. And trust me, it took me years to understand this. I have somewhat of a mentor who I am friends with, and I just follow him and take his advice. He probably doesn't know how much I take his advice, but he always talks about the law of contribution. And he always talks about being present with the person that you're with and authentically finding out really what's important to them. What are they trying to accomplish? How are they feeling? Instead of making it about like, I really want to sell your property, I'm the guy to do it. Yeah, that's great. But you can't say, I really want to sell your property, I'm the guy to do it. List it with me when, for example, let's say you're the seller and you're like, well, I can't really sell until a year from now because my kids have to finish high school and they're not going to graduate until next year. And if I'm that agent that's just that pushy in a negative way, because you could be pushing a good way, right? Pushing negative way, oh, well, you should list it right now. I mean, that's just disregarding what's important to them, right? Now, if what's important to them is a financial perspective and selling now is better than selling a year from now, then that's a different story. But if the money's not important, if his kid's graduating school a year from now is more important, then for me, my job is to fulfill that year sale. I should say that sale that's a year from now. It's not necessarily trying to get them to sell now, because once you start pushing somebody into a situation that is not good for them but good for you, or you think it's good for you, it doesn't work.
That's the truth. And when you're really taking care of people and you let them, I mean, it's not just a saying, but the customer's always right. That's what they want to do in that moment. You say, okay, that sounds great. Yeah. Let's figure out how we can set you up for success, right? So what you're saying is leading with authenticity, being present in the conversation. I found that type of exercise actually will yield more opportunity.
Way more.
Well, shit, you got a whole year to talk to them now, not just 30 or 60 days. You got 12 months to say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. And listen, I've been that guy in the past where I just wanted the sale. And after the sale, it's like that relationship is no longer meaningful.
It's too quick. Too easy.
Too quick. You didn't connect. You know, I'll say heart to heart, human to human. You know, I like to say spiritually, because I think we're all connected spiritually if you really understand that. And if you don't connect, if you connect with them on that level that's beyond this physical level, that relationship it's like gold. It just lasts. You probably connected with somebody so good that you're not even in the same room, but if you think about them, you feel them in your heart.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling that you need. And listen, people want that. People want to be connected to other people. You know, even if they're introverted, in their heart they want to be connected to somebody.
They may not be able to communicate it, but it's a human need. And what we were talking about actually with my team not too long ago was usually the issues in any type of transaction are made up.
Yeah.
And they will come from a lack or a break in communication somewhere, be it with the professionals or maybe even within the couple. But usually it's a lack of knowing that the people around you have your back, and you just start making shit up. I mean, really. If you're not getting communication like, hey, we're still good to go, you might get a phone call and be like, hey, I'm not really feeling good about this. I'm looking at other people. It's like, oh, we're still good to go. Okay, cool. Yeah. What are you doing this weekend? Like, I just wanted to make sure. I don't know. But leading with some sort of authenticity to even say, hey, great idea. Why don't you hold off for a year? Yeah. Perfect. Let's put a plan in place.
Authenticity, humility, being conscious, and look, you can be like, we have one of our core values is humbly confident. So you can be confident without being condescending or without being a show off, right? You can be humble and at the same time know what you're talking about.
I like that.
And you can be vulnerable with the person and at the same time come off as the person of authority.
I like that. And guys, whoever's listening to this, timestamp it at what we got, January 18th. Is it 18th or 19th? It's the 19th. Jeepers. Have we been here that long?
Time's flying.
The market's changing.
It is.
The market's changing. Rates are going to start climbing. People are going to start talking about how the industry is getting harder, and they're going to start going to another job. I think that's fan-fucking-tastic, because then it just gets rid of the people that shouldn't be in the industry. But these, like you said, two words, core values. If you know who you are, if you were either raised right or you figured out how to be right, you have some manners and some interest in people. We are in the service industry.
Yes.
Those core values are what's going to not only get you through this change in the marketplace, but it's going to allow. What is Steve Harvey says? Your gift will make room for you.
Yeah.
I love that. So like everybody has the same gift at its core, which is them. Right, their authenticity. Guys, show up more than ever, and this is great advice. Whether you think you're a good realtor or not, be a good person. Just start conversation. You want to practice? You want to train? Go say hello.
Yeah.
Go to the grocery store and say hello.
Right. And being in that coaching industry, right? Because we all need mentorships, and there's so many. No one ever. People teach you the physical grind, but very few people teach that there is definitely a bigger connection here. How can I say this where it's going to make sense? I mentioned that people connection, right? But it's like a spiritual connection. It's that connection that's bigger than the words, that's bigger than what you say. If you connect with somebody on that level, what you say and how you look are going to fade away. They're not going to be as important, because it's an old saying, people don't care about what you say. What is a lasting memory for them is how you made them feel at the time.
Exactly.
Right? And
one way or the other, no matter how you made them feel, they will not forget it.
Yes.
They will not. That's
exactly.
not just he made me feel good. Well, it's like,
right.
He didn't make me feel very good.
Yeah. Look, I worked with a lot of clients who at one time in their life, they worked with another realtor, and the realtor was very successful in the sale. And I would say, well, how come you're not working with that person again? And they don't. I don't like him. I would never work with him again. It was a good sale. Let's see again. Sometimes the sale is important, but also the connection, everything from the gratitude or the commitment or the discipline, giving it all you got is more or just as important as getting the sale. And actually, if I can give anybody that's listening to this a fantastic tip, is if you focus on service and if you focus on being that positive connection for your clients, the sale is going to happen naturally, right? Because when it comes down to it, there's these fundamentals: marketing, price, market condition. You can't control those things. You can control the price by guiding your clients. And let's face it, if you don't have that connection, the client might be like, most realtors have had that situation where you're like, I think we're a little overpriced. We probably need to make a price adjustment. But if they don't feel that authenticity, and if they don't feel that care, and they're not going to think it's the right decision. They're going to think, oh, this guy just wants his commission. They just want to give my property away. They just want to minimize my equity in the sale, right? So that's the difference.
So you did a lot of transactions last year, and we all want to love on everybody as much as we know they deserve.
Yeah.
And we can through different technology, right? I know that you do a lot of video outreach with either informational videos, which we know are successful. We had more conversations about that. We've done a bunch of videos together. I've had success by way of being inspired, even doing those with you.
You're on a TV show.
Yeah, it's been fun, but like it's video, whether you know or like who you are, it's really going to expose you, which is a good thing if we're all coming from that place of service. So
sure.
What type of, how have you used video to communicate with those clients to make sure that they know that you have their back when you just logistically can't actually be in front of all of them? Have you seen a difference between video and email or text messaging?
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that. I don't think we've talked about this. I mean, we may have, but not recently. Definitely. So I use video when I set a listing appointment and I'm going to meet with somebody to talk about listing their property. I will send them a video prepping them for the appointment because now they put a face with the name.
Yeah.
They knew who I am. So I'm kind of getting to know them virtually and, through talking to them on the phone. But then when I show up there, that bond is a little bit stronger.
Like, oh, Sohail,
hey, there he
how
is.
you
Right,
doing?
exactly. Hey, there you are. Come
you
on
changed
in.
your hair.
I do frequently, by the way. So then, afterwards, I'll follow up with a video. Sometimes connecting with somebody in the past, a video is great because it's personal. And you may feel like sometimes I don't want to bother anybody or I feel like I'm going to bother them. I haven't talked to them in a while. I'm like, I'm just going to send them a video just because I really care about how they're doing. But in my mind, I'm just not sure if they're receptive to the call.
Yeah.
But I still want them to know that I'm truly reaching out to see how they're doing, how
and
their
thinking
family
about them.
is. Right, and thinking about them. And then I use video as a message to give market updates. Right, that's on a grand scale. Video's huge.
Yeah, I mean, people find you as a credible resource because of video. And again, me and you are personal friends.
Right.
But not everybody can be friends with somebody. And when you show up on video, people are going to know if they are part of your tribe or not. And that really helps cut through the bullshit.
It
to
does.
be quite honest.
It does.
Because the people that have an affinity for the way that you're delivering information are your champions, your cheerleaders. So I think that as we move into this next stage of the market, this next cycle, and with technology growing and taking the position of the humans originating loans and selling houses, we're going to need
the metaverse.
Right? Well, yeah, we're going to live next to Snoop. But I think that the magic is going to be marrying technology and authenticity through video delivery. And I mean, you were an early adopter to that. Through technology, though, if somebody just can't fathom the idea of putting themselves on video, what's another way that you've been able to stay in front of clients to, continue to have success?
So you're saying if I...
Like anybody out there, like the video isn't an option for them right now. They just
they don't want to do
They
video.
can't sink their teeth into it. What's that next best?
So there's this thing called the 7 levels of communication. I think there's books on it. If I'm not mistaken, I think Stephen Covey wrote a book, The 7 Levels of Communication. So, God, I read that book probably 11 years ago. And I'll never forget what it said because it talked about the highest levels of communication. Now, that's actually changed a little bit because face-to-face was always the number one interaction. And then it was the phone call. And then it was email because text message wasn't as profound as it is now. And then it was either a letter, or snail mail, and it goes on from there. Now, I think face-to-face is still number one. So if I can't come to your house and see how you're doing, then the best next thing is probably sending you that video.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's that face-to-face interaction. And from a psychological standpoint, the person you're sending that video knowing that you want to have that face-to-face. You want to send that personal message. On a psychological level, the person receiving it receives it that same way. Right? So then it would be face-to-face, video, text message is probably now more profound than calling. People just, it's fast.
Yeah.
Then calling, and then the snail mail, email, and then snail mail, and smoke signals.
So I like the answer because it's sack up and do the video because that's what's going to help you.
Yes,
it really is. It'll cut through so much time. I know that you and other, realtors that do a lot on the listing side are able to gain time back by using video for feedback calls. Like you had 5, 6, 10 open houses on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. People use that absolutely. I call my clients so much that sometimes I feel like I'm bothering them. So every now and then you got to mix it up: a video, a text message,
hallelujah,
and call as well. And I think if you have all the angles and you're not just doing one, you have more options for yourself. But if you don't want to make that call and you don't want to send a text message, the video is just fundamentally, people perceive it as, wow, they don't understand how what you had to do to make that video.
Right.
So it's like, wow, they took their time, they set up this camera, they recorded this message, they say my name in it, and it comes off pretty powerful.
Well, and it's different because guess what? As much video that you're seeing out there and all the internet sensations and all that, the young kids.
Right.
In our profession, there is still a limited amount of people that are using it. So there's still time to separate yourself. If you are equally as gifted in a specific neighborhood with a specific type of buyer and one does a video and the other one doesn't, well, shit. I mean, that's a pretty easy decision.
That is pretty.
I see one person, I don't see the other one.
Right. So video, you can put yourself everywhere.
Omnipresence.
Video, you can put yourself everywhere without being there, right? I told you earlier today, we're talking when I was probably 16 to 18 years old. I had a neighbor, two brothers, husband and wife, and they had two younger kids who I was older than them. But I just got a call from one of them a couple days ago saying he wanted to sell his property. I haven't talked to this person in 25 years. 25 years, God, that's a long time. 25 years, maybe a little more than 25 years, and he reached out to me to sell his property. And he's like, who else am I going to go to? Plus, I get your videos all the time. And I'm like, where the heck are you getting my video? I haven't seen you in 25 years, and you're getting my videos somehow. So that's impactful. That's impactful on just the fact of how powerful a video can be, right?
Well, and you and I have some of the same mentors, one of them being Grant Cardone, within the effort, the omnipresence showing up.
Right.
I'm going to bring another influence in, and I forgot to tell you the truth. Maybe it was Miles Monroe, and he said, let us meet you before you die. And I was like, whoa. Well, you can couple both. You can put a lot of effort into people knowing exactly who you are and what you do. Mike Wieczorek, I do residential mortgage loans. This is how you can contact me. I'm Sohail Salahudin. I sell real estate. This is how you can contact me. Oh, I didn't realize Sohail was a realtor.
Yeah.
I remember the one time that I closed, or somebody posted online that they had closed on a home. This is a long time ago. And I was like, wait, I know, like, and trust them, and they know, like, and trust me. And in other, small conversation, I found out why they didn't use me. And it wasn't because they didn't like me. It was like, oh shit, I forgot you did mortgages. And I was like, how could somebody forget that I did mortgages?
Because you're that important. Right?
Yeah, exactly. People don't think about us as much as we think they do.
Yes.
Certainly not as much as we need them to. So make sure that people don't forget, especially the ones that want to support you, what you do.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is through video and to market yourself, because if you aren't going to, who else is?
Yeah, and going back to being authentic and genuine, it's not showing up for you, right? Mm-hmm. So as you said, it's like, they just didn't think about me. I wasn't in front of them. And so it's our job. It's not their job to come to constantly think about us. It's our job to show up for them. To show up for them being ready whenever they need us. Maybe they don't need us at the time, but you have to be ready to constantly show up. Hey, any questions on the market? How you been? I mean, you could show up as a business person. You can show up as someone that just sincerely wants to know how they're doing. You can show up asking them because maybe they have something that you need. You can show up in so many different ways, but the most important thing is when they need you, everything drops and it's about them.
And to tie it back in, like what we were saying before, omnipresence and being there for somebody when they need you, how you couldn't be there for everybody when they need you if you don't know how their brain works. But if you are present in all areas of their attention, you've sent some text messages tactfully, maybe once a month, once a quarter.
Right.
Snail mail might be a general newsletter, but me and you both know the power of a handwritten note, a true handwritten
note.
Literally saying, well, it's the greatest salesman of all time in the Guinness Book of World Records. It made a lot of his relations last longer by sending them a letter. Before Facebook was out, all it said was, I like you, and it had a thumbs up on it. Every single card was the same
that's
thing.
Great.
There was no other content but I like you, thumbs up.
Yeah.
So I think that in your 7 ways of communication, or 7 most impactful?
7 levels of
7
communication,
levels.
right?
I honestly think that coupled with video, that a handwritten note is just as powerful right now.
So if you think about a phone call or an email, right? And if you relate the difference between an email and a video and a text and a handwritten note, it's kind of the same correlation where compared to an email, that video is that handwritten note delivery. The handwritten note is just as authentic and genuine, and the perception of you taking the time to care to do that is the same as a video.
I love that. Yes. And if you did all of them, then guess what?
Yeah.
If they find another person to represent them, then they really didn't want you. But
don't send a video every week to the same person on a weekly basis. Mix it up. Send them a handwritten note. But genuinely, care about people. If you're not going to care about them, then don't bother. Because in a service-based industry like you and I are in, the true fundamental of just success, people look at it as financial. People can look at it as many different things, right? Time. But I think that the true heartfelt fundamental success is truly on the connection of the human spirit, right? Connecting humanity to humanity.
I like that. I mean, anybody can take a lot of nuggets from what we've been talking about. I know that you definitely are coming from a place of love, a place of service. I know that your business is going to open up wide open by coming from that place of being present. And I like to say, and it's on the front of my Facebook page, people that give a shit. I want to connect with people that give a shit.
Yeah.
However that hits
and people
you.
feel that.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, I say I'm unapologetically authentic, and I'm a little much for some people, but the people who I'm too much for aren't ready to deal with maybe the straight line truths, and that might not be me, put it this way. People learn the most from you when you know who you are and you show up. And you kept saying show up.
Man, so that's interesting that you say that, because I think most people, they're trying to look for what they're looking for in life outside of themselves. So they're trying to find that external, whether it's a purpose or it's an answer or it's a realtor or a mortgage broker. And they're looking for someone else that's going to give them some secret sauce.
Make them happy.
Well, some secret sauce, someone successful. And so you're like, I want to be in fly on wall because they're doing something that is secret. We don't know. This guy's doing hundreds of transactions, right? But it's really, I think what it really is they found something inside themselves. That's the self. Yeah. that's successful. And that's in the past couple of years, I have to say, for me, I have been looking inside, right? Instead of trying to find the external. And through that process, I realized that, so now it comes to the financial aspect. And this is, I think, how I've let go about worrying about the financial aspect and started focusing on people, because recently I realized the cars, the suit, it doesn't really matter. I'm just wearing this suit, right? It's just so I can look good for the person that I'm there for. Again, showing up for that person and having the respect to look like this for them. But in the reality, I really don't care about the cars anymore. I used to anymore. I don't care about the suits. I love watches, but at the end of the day, like if I compare my watch collection to time with my kids, my watches are meaningless, right? And so that the inside, we all have something really powerful inside ourselves. And until we find that, we're going to start valuing material things. We're going to start valuing things that really don't matter. And so by finding what is inside of yourself, and you find that connection is the most valuable thing, then you can connect with other people on a level that's just out of this atmosphere. Yeah, out of this atmosphere. My wife and I, right? We have an incredible relationship, thank God, and we worked really hard at it. But when I see her, I don't look and I don't see her physically. Like I look at her and it's like our souls are communicating. If I can duplicate that with people that I get to meet, the clients that I get to serve, people like yourself in the industry that I have the good fortune to work with, dude, that is like, man, I'm just so inspired to just even talk about it.
No, I could see the...
And it's a hard thing to find.
Yeah.
You know, it's taking me, I'm 45 years old and I feel like I'm just starting to figure that out. At age 43, I'm just starting to figure something out. You know?
Some people, unfortunately, don't.
No, you're right.
And if you ask those people on their deathbed what they changed, it was what? Time, love.
Yeah. The time they spent with people that they love, right? That made a difference.
It all ties back to just the people closest to you and love, because you don't have a lot of time.
Man, you said it. People need each other, number one, right?
Yeah.
The clients that we serve need us, right? They need us.
Yeah.
Our wives, our kids, they need us. So showing up in a self-fulfilled way just doesn't make sense, because they need us, and so they need us to show up for that person that they need at the time for them, not for us. And if you can do that, if you can figure that out, how can I show up for my kids? How can I show up for my wife? Who do I need to be at this time that I'm that I'm going to meet this single mom that needs to sell her home because she got a job transfer, for example? You need to show up as their superhero. You need to show up as like, I sell a lot of homes. No. Yeah. You need to show up as that person that they need to be at that time. So it's a salesman. It's someone that they need to feel comfortable and confident with. It's someone that they need to understand that you do know what you're doing and you are a master of your craft. And trust, right? And trust can be explained, felt, perceived on many different levels. But I think if you show up for them, not about you, and trying to connect with them on that non-physical level, everything else just falls in place.
Well, if we have some common threads here, it's going to be building relationships and showing up, which both resonate with me. And I don't want to be redundant on your story, but something that I heard too, which is as far as like, one, showing up for you is the way that you can truly help people. But also, if you don't show up as you and you're putting on an act, you can actually divert people's attention pretty rapidly. Yeah, and everybody around you is looking for things that don't exist. So the story goes like this: guy loses his keys, and the lights are all on in his house, but he loses the keys in his house. He can't find them anywhere. Well, the lights go out in his house, right? And there's a street light on though outside. And he goes, oh, well, it's dark in here. I'm going to go look outside for my keys. And the neighbor comes out and they go, well, what are you doing out here? Oh, I lost my keys. Well, shit, I'll help you find them. Yeah. And then the next neighbor comes out. What happened? We're looking for his keys. You lost them. Oh, okay, I'll help you. Now you got the neighborhood looking for your keys outside. There's no keys outside. And then the key was inside. And they say,
where was the last time you saw them? In the house.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. But, well, why are we looking out here with the lights on? Oh, okay, let's keep looking then.
Right.
So the point is you can misguide people. You know where the answers are.
Yeah.
You got to realize though that they're not outside where the shiny objects are, and sometimes it's gonna hurt dealing with the realities that maybe outside wasn't the problem. Well, as soon as you do though, at the age of 43 or 75, you can start to enjoy the day, be present, and start helping people just by knowing they had 3 letters on their shirt that said CTA and connecting with people.
Yeah. And every now and then I run across a client that maybe they have a $200,000 condo, right? And they say, well, you do so much. I mean, do you sell $200,000 condos? That goes back to going back to where you said is you have to get to know you first, because when I realized it, it's not about the condo. It's about you. Can I help you? Am I the right person for you? Because her question was, is this condo right for you? But that doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does make sense on a skill level or on someone that, only sells in the luxury market. But if you're someone that's focused on people and helping, the price point, that stuff matters. And when you focus on someone who's selling it could be $100,000 condo, and they feel that person is going to lead you to more clients than you could have ever imagined, because you focused on them and you were that caring person for them. But you still have to be great at sales.
Of course. No, of course. And being great at sales truly is being great at taking care of people, because it is a service industry, and the sale will take care of itself. The commission is the people. I've always said the real estate truly is the people. The more you invest in that real estate, the more the return you'll get, which is commission. Call that whatever you want, money or fulfillment, one way or the other. But so this we already said the market's changing. I know that you do a lot in the city, and you also do a lot in North Shore, Skokie,
in the suburbs.
And so tell us about the luxury market, the single family market, both owner occupied and those that are buying single families as an investment.
It's an interesting time. So the buy in public's values have changed, right? So we're a luxury downtown condo was once the great thing to have and the cool thing to do, and to be in the air looking over the lake. People's values have changed. So now that's not as valuable as having the space,
right?
As having not living in a congested area, right? Having not being around so much busy traffic where your kids can just jump on their bike and go down the street. Like I love watching you with your kids because you're an amazing dad. But I love you jump in that go-kart and it's like, so you can't do that in the city, right? And if you did, you'd get pulled over and maybe you would
get booted.
Yeah. So that's changed. Yeah. Space has changed, and so whether it doesn't matter if it's a $300,000 to $500,000 market, or if it's the luxury $1 million, $2 million, $3 million plus. It's all that is just an affordability, right? That's nothing more. But the buyer's values in having a single family home and having your own land now is a lot more popular than being in a condo.
We're seeing like all the in-home spaces. Though I would prefer to have an in-home office where people were like, "What the hell is this thing? You've wasted a bedroom."
Right.
Now you'll see people, everything that didn't make sense before, a dog bath right there. It's like, well, I don't want to take them out every time they get dirty, or tennis courts, the pools.
Pools.
Jesus, pools went nuts.
Decks, fire pits, outdoor entertainment areas where you have a TV, a grill.
So those are good investments. They always were, but now, at least in this current market, those are things that are probably making homes sell even faster.
They are. We've seen more luxury home, I'm just going to use the North Shore, for example, because it's along the lake.
Yeah.
So we've seen, in the past 2 years, we've seen more luxury lake home sales up and down the North Shore, whether it's Evanston, Wilmette, Winnetka, Kenilworth, Glencoe, Lake Forest, Highland Park, than we have in probably the past 5 to 10 years.
People want that personal space.
People want that space. And of course, the affluency for people to afford that.
Oh.
Though that's who's buying that. But in the past, people they didn't want the land. They didn't want to maintain it. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to cut the grass. They didn't want a pool because they didn't want to maintain the pool. They didn't want the liability of a pool. Now, wait, I need the pool. I need the golf cart, I need the tennis court. I need a backyard for my kids. I need a private area for myself. I don't know if I want to go to a movie theater anymore. We need a movie theater inside our house. Bars. It's kind of iffy right now, so let's just put a bar inside our house and have people come to our home and entertain. That's huge right now.
Are we going backwards to when we had a use for all those, what's the style home? Not colonial, like they had the grand ballrooms and...
Yeah, just...
Victorians?
Victoria.
Like Victorians would
have
little
like
ballrooms.
big Victorians,
It's like a need for that excess space is now, it's relevant again.
Look, I would say the highest valued properties now, and per the highest residency per capita of income is now Jackson Hole, Wyoming. At one time it was Kenilworth, right? Why is Jackson Hole so popular now? Well, because people don't buy homes there; they buy ranches. Right? They have fly fishing. They don't have a pool. They have a fly fishing stream. So it's that the land is becoming more popular, right?
Fresh air.
Look, right? We're in a pandemic of health.
Yeah.
So now people are realizing health is wealth. Mm-hmm. If you don't have health, you don't have anything. Fresh air, comfort of knowing that your kids can ride their bicycle to the park and be safe. Comfort of having your kids and their friends at your home in the pool. Comfort of living on the lake on a beach and having your kids play there, right? It's comfort, it's health, and the other thing is we're still left to the unknown too.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd say it's better to have your own compound than being in even though you could have a $5 million condo in the sky. I mean, it might not be your fault. Somebody else's fault could fall.
It's true. You are. I've had that conversation quite a bit, and we don't mean the whole building could fall literally, but the value. It takes a couple of bad apples in a.
Oh, it could. Look, let's. I mean, I'm not to creep, but let's just say, not here in Chicago, but let's just say you're in L.A. and there's an earthquake.
Sure.
Right. That building and single family homes can fall too. But my point being is that you can have your single family home the way that you want it.
Yeah.
Right, versus how somebody else wants it.
No, I love that, and honestly, the pandemic obviously had a lot of bad things associated with it, but there was a silver lining for a lot of people getting closer to family. Those that, I mean, some families got ripped apart too, or kept apart.
Right.
I think people are seeing the value of having those that they love, care for, and enjoy close to them, and in their own environment that they can control. Because let's be honest. I mean, social media and all the things we're talking about utilizing as a way to get visibility is also what's stealing our time from ourselves and our families.
We just talked about that, right?
But if you can do it, there's a way to build wealth through real estate. You can start with that condo. It doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a condo. But what we're talking about with Sohail here is the opportunity to control your future per se, but also your environment. I mean, start with whatever you can chew, right?
Absolutely. And just going back to what you said, it's right. It doesn't matter. You don't have to live in a single family home. A condo, if that's your forte, right? We're just talking about what's happened in the last 2 years. And so speaking on that, just everything changes. We're in constant change. The market's constantly changing.
Is there a bad investment in real estate if you're going to hold it over time? If you have a good realtor. I mean, people are so they're paralyzed in fear for so many reasons right now. The people that are going to buy are buying.
Yeah.
But what do you say to the people that are like, I don't know what's happening? Is the height of the market? Should I buy with value so high?
That's a great question. So, if you do the math, because there's people that are waiting right now for the market to crash. Or prices are going to come down, which they are. Everything's up and down, right? Mm-hmm. Everything's cyclical. But if you do the math on the low interest rates that we have right now, I think a 2.7 for, I think it might have been a 10-year arm, right? But if you do the math between buying a home at a higher price now with a lower interest rate versus waiting for the home to come down, and what's going to cause homes to come down is inflation, right? What happens when you have high inflation, and we all know it. And I mean, you have to be living on a different planet, to know that we're not going to hit with a really, really hard with inflation. Interest rates go up. What happens when interest rates go up? The buying public's ability to purchase goes down. So then, therefore, the value of homes have to come down. But if you do the math between buying now at a higher price versus with a low interest rate versus buying a home at a cheaper price but having a higher interest rate over the course of, we'll just say your average 30-year fix, it's cheaper to buy it now at a higher price with a lower interest rate than to wait for the home values or the property values to come down and interest rates go up and buy then.
in that calculation, you're right. You could have bought another property.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have bought another property.
So all the people listening, if you're thinking that you're waiting for prices to come down, there's going to be only one thing that we're aware of that are going to cause prices to come down. That's inflation. That means interest rates are going to go up.
And I'm not trying to be funny. If you have the means and you're just, locked in with fear, maybe talk to somebody about that. But I would buy at both points in the market. Buy now with the low rates and wait and buy something else when the price comes down. But take advantage, hedge your bets on that.
Yeah. So I'm speaking to just people who are buying a home for their family, for example, right?
Yeah.
But they don't want to. They don't want to buy a home for their family. They'd rather have their family of 4 in a 2-bedroom, just because they're waiting for the prices to come down.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It's you think that it's logical thinking, but it's really based on an emotion, because
always
that person is focused on an emotion that they want to get a deal versus focus on the logic.
Yeah. And logically speaking, this might not sound logical to everybody, but if you can, within the guidelines, get approved for a loan, and you don't feel comfortable with that payment being an extra $400 or $500 a month, but it puts you in the right neighborhood, in the right amount of bedrooms and bathrooms. Well, guess what, guys? It's not that you're spending $500 too much on your mortgage and the place you're going to grow your family. You might need to sell a car. You might need to, get rid of something else in the budget,
right?
Because that $500 will change your life, and everybody deserves it. It's like having kids. Oh, kids are so expensive. I don't know that, because I stopped doing all the other shit, and I'm spending my time and my energy with the kids anyway, trying to enjoy it. But people need to invest in themselves and their homes, and now has never been a better time. Whether it's 500 feet in the sky because they got a good deal because everyone else is moving out of the condos, or buying that single family that they never thought they needed.
100%. And like you said, there are people that don't want to spend the money, right? They're going to wait, but they have the money. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because we're talking about kids.
Yeah.
And what's the one thing that we're limited? Time. Right? So I think people get confused between money and time. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, they're probably both our evil nemesis. Because every day, those are the two things that most people battle.
We usually buy time with money too. So.
Right. Yeah. So they're interconnected in a way, but at the same time, there's a major disconnect. Mm-hmm. Because people try to hold on to money for the future, but at the same time, they're running out of time to enjoy their life. Right. So I love the fact that you spend so much time with your kids, and you've done something great for them. I don't want to but you've done something good as a family for your family. And most people are like, why did he do that? He doesn't need that. But I know you did it for your kids. And I look back, my dad he did really well, but he never limited us. My mom too. I mean, both my parents, they never limited us to what they would do for us, or how much something costs, because if they could do it, they would do it. And I remember one time my dad told me, he said, I could leave you. He had a lot of properties at one time, and he said, I could leave this out for you, and I could save money, and I could save money for you. And he goes, but the problem with that is that I don't get to see you, and I don't get to be here to enjoy it with you. And so I didn't think, looking back, I
like that.
I don't think about that much. But now that I have kids, it's like I could die and I could leave them millions of dollars, but I don't have that connection of being there with them at that time. Like, we go back to being conscious and being aware and being with that person in that moment. We don't have that if we're not here. Maybe spiritually, but you don't have that.
We've talked about a lot. I think, again, it goes back to showing up and, really working on self so you can show up for people. And I'll leave it with Oprah quote here. Oprah
please,
quote.
share it.
She just, she said, and some of it's scripture, but she said, I do have to be selfish at times. I have to make sure that my cup is full. So full that my cup runneth over. right? And then you
I've
can
heard that one, yeah.
actually help those people around you. So I don't give a shit if you love doing video or if you love writing handwritten notes or you love going to bake sales or you love the PTA so much that it turned you into a realtor because everybody needed to buy a house around you. Just keep doing whatever it is that you like doing, that inspires you, motivates you, and helps you keep humanity like in the forefront of your mind. If anybody wants to get in touch with Mr. Sohail Salahuddin for realtor information, to become a realtor, to sell their house, for spiritual talk, I mean, truly anything, how do they get in touch with you?
Text, email is probably best. So my email is sohail@sohailrealestate.com. That's S as in Sam, OHAIL at SOHAIL realestate.com. Text me at 312-437-7799. Calling me may be difficult because I am always either on a call or I'm in an appointment with somebody most of the time, and if not, I'm with my family. So try those two first.
You've got a great support team too of people that can help as well. And if you really want to get his attention, send him a video and a handwritten note.
Boom.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.